Some good news on the US economy. Today we published the flash PMI for the US service sector. So the index rose very slightly from an already quite buoyant 55.9 in November to 56.0 in December. Now that's slightly below the levels that we saw in the summer, but nevertheless it's signalling very strong growth. Now the service sector, remember, this encompasses some 55% of the US economy. So it's a very large sector, so this is a big contribution to GDP growth in the fourth quarter. So what exactly does this mean for GDP growth? Well, GDP expanded by 3.6% at an annualised rate in the third quarter. The buoyant data that we've got for the PMIs in the fourth quarter so far suggests that rate may have cooled, but only very slightly. We're probably looking again at around a 3% rate, maybe a little bit more than that. Growth is being driven by both manufacturing and services, so this is a good, broad-based economic upturn that we're seeing at the moment. Surprising resilience in the face of the debt crisis and so forth. One of the very good bits of news from the survey is in terms of employment. Now, the service sector employment index showed firms taking on staff at the fastest rate that we've seen since the surveys first started in 2009. Alongside that, we saw manufacturers also take on staff at an increased rate. Put these two together, and the survey is signalling non-farm payroll growth well in excess of 200,000. So this is good news for policymakers thinking about a Fed tapering. Alongside that, we also saw service sector firms become more optimistic about the year ahead, and also across both sectors of manufacturing and services, we see new orders growth hitting the highest again since survey data were first collected in 2009. This bodes well for coming months. It suggests the US recovery has got legs, the recovery is gaining pace, firms are taking on staff at an increased rate because their optimism is rising. That optimism is based on a number of factors. One, primarily, is an easing in concerns about the debt crisis. Consumers are also beginning to spend more. Companies are beginning to spend more on their investment. So this is, again, looking like a good broad-based upturn at the moment.